right, 700. We got it. Okay, so the story of the day is the media's freaking out, calling Roseanne racist, saying that she had a racist tweet, and they really want to cancel her show. They've already wanted to cancel her show literally at every stop of the way. Like, everything she's done has made them want to cancel the show, but she definitely reached a certain threshold that she hasn't reached thus far, and she was tweeting about Valerie Jarrett, who was an advisor to President Obama, and she tweeted something along the lines of, she looks like she had a baby, or she looks like the baby of Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes, and then put her initials. So that was the joke. She said she looked like a baby of Planet of the Apes and Muslim Brotherhood. So, I mean, it's not hard to see why the media would freak out, because nowadays, if you breathe or you're like Asian, they say you're a white supremacist. If you breathe, you're a neo-Nazi. So, it's not, I mean, she literally said that she looked like the product of Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes. So, I mean, it shouldn't be any surprise that the media is freaking out. They freak out over nothing, and she literally took like a religion / possible terrorist organization and, Planet of the Apes, so comparing her to an ape. And yes, she is an African-American woman from Iran. So the media is extremely, extremely upset, and Wanda Sykes, who was a top writer on the show, has already quit the show. So, first off, I want to say personally, I would never say that. I want to say that it definitely is if you're Roseanne and you don't want the media to come crashing down on you, then I wouldn't say that, just to be honest, because you know that they're already trying to fire you and they're already reaching out on every level. So it's like when you say something like that, it's definitely pushing it over the edge. But I do want to say a few things that I think are really getting lost in translation recently, and I think a lot of people's feelings are so hurt and they're so down on themselves that they let little things like this bother them. I understand when it comes to apes and monkeys or whatever, there is like a racist undertone to it and a racial history of it being used in racial ways. But I just want to come with the science for a little bit, because I know people on the left and liberals and they love science, and conservatives love science. Everyone loves science. So there's something very important that I think people are really missing. President Trump said that gang members that kill people are animals, and everyone freaked out. But I want to say scientifically, we are all animals. You're an animal, I'm an animal, Trump's an animal, gang members are animals. Everybody are literally animals. So when you have this like ridiculous outrage over the fact that he told you the truth, like literally that's the truth, is that you're an animal and I'm an animal, then it just kind of looks foolish to me. And to be honest, I have to keep it real. I know this is going to probably upset some people, but when it comes to apes and monkeys and chimpanzees, we are literally nearly identical to chimpanzees and monkeys. So it's no surprise that we look like them, because we are them. And I know that's going to make a lot of people mad. It's basic science, but 96% of our DNA, no matter what your skin color is, we share 96% DNA with apes, with chimpanzees. So, of course, we're going to look like chimpanzees and apes because we literally are them. It is a scientific discovery, from the 2000s, that the differences between humans and chimpanzees is 10 times smaller than the difference between mice and rats. That's how similar we are to chimpanzees and apes. We literally are chimpanzees and apes. So it's like, is that really racist? I just don't think that's racist. Is the joke in bad taste? Totally, especially in PC culture. It's like people can't embrace anything. So, of course, that type of statement is going to freak people out because they think you breathing is racist. But is it really a racist statement? Like, if you really get down to the core of it, I personally, I have to be honest, I don't think it has anything to do with race. I think people are overly sensitive, and I think that people just don't want to embrace the fact that we're animals and we're apes. I'm not a black or African American man, clearly. So, I don't know. I don't have this like racial undertone, and I don't have this history of like people telling me, how I should feel, and I don't understand, certain things. I have my perspective, and I respect other people's perspective that I don't have. But I will say as a hip hop artist, I used to have shorter hair, and the top comment always used to be, Anomaly looks like an ape. He's a disgraceful ape, and people used to call me a monkey and an ape all the time because I have long ears, and I guess I look like a monkey, or I did more. Now people say I look like Jesus or Drake or something, which is a little bit nicer than an ape. So, I appreciate that, but, overall, like, it used to hurt my feelings a little bit, but it mostly hurt my feelings because I wasn't comfortable with myself. So, you know what I'm saying? As soon as I got comfortable with myself, I don't care if you call me an ape or Drake or Jesus. It's not really a big deal. But people have called me that too. And, I just think scientifically, we literally are apes. So it's like you're going to get mad at Roseanne. And, if I really have to keep it real, and this is just like when someone says, hey, Anomaly, you look like Cat Stevens, Jesus, Drake, and an ape. Am I literally Cat Stevens, Jesus, Drake, and an ape? No, of course not. But is there some truth to what they're saying? Do I kind of look like Jesus and a white Drake with mixed with an ape? Yeah, there's some truth to that. So it's like, is it true? No, it's not totally true, but there's some truth. Valerie Jarrett, does she look like Planet of the Apes mixed with Muslim Brotherhood? Pull up a picture and decide for yourself. I wouldn't say she looks exactly like it. That would be, false. But is there some element of truth to it? Totally. So is what Roseanne said really completely false and crazy? No. It's a poor joke. It's a joke in very bad taste. But if you look at a picture of her and you look at the pictures of what Roseanne said, it's if the shoe fits, it's not 100% accurate, but we're literally made from 96% ape DNA, so we all look like apes. If you take a picture of Roseanne and you look at a picture of her and put it next to an ape, she kind of looks like an ape too, because we're made for it. That's like our DNA. We're closer to an ape, we're closer to a chimpanzee than 10 times closer than mice to rats. When you look at a mouse and a rat, you can't even barely tell the difference. We're 10 times more similar to them as humans and chimpanzees. So it's not that crazy to me. It's oh my God. And I do find that there's a huge guilt thing where people bring it onto themselves. Wanda Sykes quit right away, and I love Wanda Sykes. I appreciate her, and I hope that her and Roseanne can figure it out for the show's sake. But it's there's an immediate guilt thing right there where people kind of group themselves in without even really assessing or analyzing the situation first. In my personal perspective, what if Roseanne said that to somebody who was white, or said it, to somebody who was Latino or Asian? It's would you immediately quit because you felt like that was you? It's how do you even know the premise of it, or if it encompasses you? So there's an immediate guilt of it's very similar to the little kid. There was a little black kid who was wearing a shirt that said I don't remember what it said. It was H&M. It was something like monkeying around or something. And this is a totally normal thing that parents call their kids little monkeys, and because they're literally 96% monkey DNA. No matter if you're white or Asian, that's literally what you are. But depending on your facial features, you might maybe look more like one or not. Depending on your ethnicity or whatever. But that's a normal thing that people call their parents. Everybody freaked out. They said H&M was racist. They took it out. And the mom of that kid, the mom of that black kid, he was a model. And she said, I'm mad that you're doing this because now you're affecting my money. That was his. So you're actually taking money away from the kid who's trying to be a model because you're offended by what the shirt says. And he's not even offended and his mom's not even offended. So it's to me, this is the weird, wacky world of PC where is it a great idea? No, probably not. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say it. Is it, is it perfect? No. But is it really racist? Is it racist to put a black kid in a shirt that says monkey around? No, to me, it's more racist in my personal perspective and opinion. It's more racist to make a big deal about it because then you're projecting your thought of what you think an ape or a monkey child looks like onto the kid, where first of all, we're all monkeys and apes, so it's not a big deal, even if it was, but that's not even what they were talking about. It's my kid's a little monkey, he's a little animal. It's what parents say. But you're projecting that onto the kid, so it's almost like your guilty conscience, blasting it onto the kid. And I kind of feel similar to this. It's if you didn't think that way, if you understand, hey, I'm a human being, I'm not an ape, it's not a big deal. So, that wouldn't bother you. But also there is like the scientific element of it. No matter if you're liberal or conservative or Roseanne or an angry person on CNN, we are literally 96% like ape DNA. That's just science. And we're so close to monkeys. Like, we are monkeys. We're like, whether you think evolution is real or not, I'll leave that science up to you. But it's like, we're not that different genetically. It's just a fact. So it's like either you're comfortable being a human and you're not an ape, or you realize that you are an ape and you just embrace it and be like, shoosh, I'm an animal, I'm a monkey, whatever. Like, call me what you want, bounces off me and sticks to you. So it's like you almost make the situation worse by having such a guilty conscience. And I do think that there is like a real racist undertone, to be honest, to people who get so upset about it, because it's like their guilty conscience projecting onto it, where I personally I have to keep it real. I like people who keep it straightforward and blunt with me. There's an old saying that if someone shows you their vices, they're a lot more trustworthy than people who hide their vices. So if you can see the flaws in somebody and someone's not afraid to say it to your face, usually that's like, a sign of like they're not hiding anything. They're telling you who they are and how they feel. And if they're not afraid to make a joke, it probably means they're comfortable enough to do that. Whereas it's usually the people who are quiet on the sidelines not saying anything that tend to be the most racist and the most hateful and the most negative. And I have multiple examples of that. So I do want to say too, I find it very, very odd and strange. And I hope people do agree and disagree. Like, if you think this is too offensive, that's okay. Me personally, I'm a total like comedy head, so nothing really offends me in the comedy realm. I just have to be honest. I know a lot of conservatives that watch my channel got very upset with me when I said that Michelle Wolf. And I have to say to conservatives, I love you. I appreciate you being here. But this is going to make a lot of, not everybody, obviously, I don't want to put a blanket statement. This is going to make a lot of conservatives look very hypocritical. If you were, mad at Michelle Wolf, the lady at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, saying, oh my God, she attacked Sarah Sanders because she made fun of her eye makeup and she said she looked like a softball coach. I said, then everyone got mad at me, but I said, that's kind of true. Sarah Sanders does kind of look like a softball coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I didn't think that was that offensive. I thought that was like very light comedy. And I told you guys, freedom of speech and like freedom of comedy is a very fine line. So if you attack it when it goes against you, whether it's Roseanne or Michelle Wolf, it's going to end up biting you back in the butt. So I think to people who are saying, oh my goodness, Michelle Wolf was so mean to Sarah Sanders, but then they turn around and say, oh my God, Roseanne is totally cool for saying that because I love Roseanne. It does make people seem a bit hypocritical, but me personally, I'm sure I'm hypocritical in other ways. I'm not perfect, but to be fair, I did say that that Michelle Wolf, her comedy was totally fine. I personally, I like very dark and comedy doesn't bother me, so I let it fly from all sides because I really respect freedom of speech, and I know comedy is like the last bastion of free speech. If they take comedy from us and jokes and PC culture, it's going to devour us alive. So I do want to say on that note, I do see how it's going to bite a lot of people in the butt, all the people who were mad at Michelle Wolf. I told you guys not to be too mad at it because now it's going to be contradictory. But I do also want to say too, on the liberal side and all of the people freaking out about what Roseanne said, the hypocrisy is just mounting to the levels of like, I just don't understand. And this is what I want to say. I don't care if you're upset with this, if you think the joke went too far, if you think it's wrong, if you think it's racist. I don't think it has anything to do with race. I don't think it's racist at all, but you're allowed to think that. I don't make the rules here. But I do want to say is, why are people that hate Trump and who are mad at Roseanne and people who consider themselves liberals and, I don't care about your political ideology, it just ends up this way. Why are you so obsessed with words and you don't care about actions? Like, I'll never understand that. I get if you think this is mad, that's fine. But then where was the outrage when Obama and Hillary marched into Libya and killed the progressive leader of Libya who was giving his people housing and free education and was doing the progressive liberal thing? They killed him, left a power vacuum, and then extremist terrorists took over an African country and literally put them through slave trade, and there were reports of organ harvesting. Like, this is real life. So I get if you might be upset about this. You have every right to be. I don't care. This is my perspective. You're open to yours. But why are liberals and Trump haters and Roseanne haters, why are they so obsessed with words but they don't care about actions. I mean, this is like the whole reason that people like Roseanne and President Trump is because they like actions more than words. Say what you want about Roseanne, but also her words. It's a shame that this has to be the main story, because she was just talking about George Soros. She was talking about MK Ultra mind control. She was talking about unity. Like, Roseanne's the real deal. I'm sorry. Roseanne isn't racist. I know Roseanne personally. Actually, I've met her a few times. She's not racist. She's just like she is on the show. She's very blunt, very honest. She's just a straight shooter, like a wild animal, you know, for lack of a better term. She's wild. Like, you can't control her. She's like Trump in a way. She can't be controlled. But, you know, it has its negatives, but it also has its positives. But what I want to say, that's why people like Roseanne, and that's why people like Trump, because they might say too much sometimes. They might get caught in a media whirlwind, but the 95% of the time that they don't make a mistake, they're keeping it realer than most. Like Roseanne, regardless of what you want to say about the comment, she's the realest person in Hollywood. It's not even, I mean, whoever's second in Hollywood, it's not even close. Roseanne is super real, super honest, super loving. She doesn't care what race you are. I mean, she's totally on it. She's definitely Jewish, so she really cares about Israel, and she loves the United States. I'll say that, but in general, I mean, you know, she keeps it very honest and very real. President Trump's the same way, but it's like, we get it. They say crazy stuff sometimes, but like, why? Even if you're mad at that, why don't you care about actions? It's like the Trump hater, Roseanne hater crowd, no offense, you got so obsessed with words and political correctness culture and offending people and your feelings that you'll literally let liberal politicians march into Libya and Haiti and other countries like this and literally just kill the leader. It happened in Libya. It's one of the biggest crises in Africa in the modern 21st century. I mean, it's literally was one of the most devastating things to happen to African progress, but no one cares. Why? Because they didn't say it? I mean, it's like, doesn't actions matter more than words? I don't, personally, that's why Roseanne doesn't bother me. Trump doesn't bother me. Like, even like liberal media doesn't really bother me. I don't even pay attention to them because I don't care about words. Oh, Anomaly does this, blah, blah. I don't care. Who cares what people say? Like, it doesn't matter. Oh, Anomaly looks like an ape, or she looks like an ape. There's two things that are true. Either what they said is true, or what they said is not true, but who cares either way? If it's true, who cares? If it's not true, who cares? Like, words don't really matter that much. I'm just going to be honest. I don't care about words. So Roseanne doesn't bother me. Trump doesn't bother me. But people are obsessed with words, but they don't care about actions. Like, if I say, hey, we're going to collaborate and we're going to make a whole album together. Oh, yeah, sounds great. Then we tweet about it and we talk about it, but we never do it. What matters? The fact that we talked about it or the fact that we never did it? It's the actions. Actions matter more than words. That's just how the world works. I mean, if I say, oh, I'm going to hug you, and then I bomb your country, it doesn't matter that I said I was going to hug you. It matters that I bombed your country. And that is what politicians have mastered the art of. They've mastered the art of wooing people over with politically correct words and just saying all these nice things and then doing the exact opposite, and nobody cares about it. I want to give you a perfect example of the most blatant hypocrisy on the planet. Okay, Vice Network, Vice, if you guys know, V-I-C-E, interesting enough, I just talked about Vices, their name is Vice. They act like they are the most liberal, progressive, we love black people more than you, we love Muslims more than you, we love white people more than you, we love women more than you. Like, that's their whole brand. It's like, we are the bastions of people. We love black people, we love Latinos, we love the LGBT community. That's like who Vice says they are. They act like they're better, the holier than thou network of social equality. You can go back to their Twitter, what they were saying during Libya. Okay, like I was saying, Gaddafi, regardless of what you think of him, he was improving Libya's situation, and it is a total mess now. He was giving them free healthcare, education. He was getting them water and bringing the water to Libya. There was a lot of progressive things that he was doing that most African leaders never do. Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State, and Barack Obama is President of the United States, probably more Hillary than Obama, but together. They went over there, and they literally funded rebels and said all these rebels and killed the leader of Libya, like dead. Killed. You can watch it on YouTube, unfortunately, him getting killed, murdered. And they left a power vacuum for terrorists to literally take over and enslave people. Like, this really happened. I mean, they might have not said it to you, but it really happened. And you could look at Vice Network, because Vice acts like they love black people more than me and you. They're cheering it on. I mean, I tweeted a picture on my Twitter, Legendary Energy. It's Vice saying, Gaddafi's dead, hooray, like, our rebel friends must be celebrating. Like, they literally, progressive liberal Vice was celebrating the death of Gaddafi. Have they done a follow-up report and apologized? Like they'll be the ones screaming, "Oh, Roseanne needs to fire. They need to fire her. She needs to apologize." She did apologize, but like, did you apologize? Because what she said was a word. What she said was a joke. You know what I'm saying? What she said has no political like ramifications. It has no social or physical ramifications. Like, it literally doesn't do anything but hurt people's feelings. What you said and what you supported literally led to real life slavery, real life organ harvesting, real African lives suffering because you're celebrating. That's really happened in real life. So do they apologize? No, they never apologize. They never retract it, because this is who they are. And this is why I personally, although I've never voted Republican or conservative, that's just the truth. I mean, I'm not saying it like super proudly or anything. I'm just keeping it real with you. I never have. I'm not conservative. I didn't even vote for Trump, but I love Trump and Roseanne so much more than the people who hate them, because they show you their vices. They show you their flaws. You know what you're getting with Roseanne. You know what you're getting with President Trump. You don't know what you're getting with Vice and with these liberals. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They act like they love black people more than you do, and they act like they're the bastions of African people, but then they're cheering on the death of the most progressive African leader and letting slave trade and organ harvesting exist there, and then they say nothing because they're literally allied with the rebels who killed them. So it's like, who would I rather? Somebody said something mean that hurt my feelings, or somebody that smiles to my face, says the nicest things, and then literally does some of the most foul things to ever happen in humanity. And unfortunately, that is politics, and that is the mainstream media. They woo people with women and children and social justice, and they act like, oh my goodness, we got to get her TV show off the air. But then they're the ones that are facilitating these wars. They're the ones that are facilitating all of these, overthrows of regimes and killing people's leaders and trying to replace them with puppet presidents, even if it means, terrorist organizations taking over the whole country. Me personally, I love people so much of every race, religion, and gender. I don't want that to happen. So, that's why I speak about it, and I hope that people pay attention. But this is what you get with them. So overall, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with ABC and the Roseanne show. I guess it's on Disney Network. People are tweeting out. I don't know exactly who owns the Roseanne show, but they're in a really big pickle. And Roseanne is the biggest show on television in like 4 or 5 years. The ratings are absolutely out of control. I mean, when it gets to Netflix or something, it's going to be just, it's going to be like the #1 show on Netflix or Hulu. So they're in a pickle where they're like, they're trying to be social justice warriors, but also, at the core of it, what people don't understand is like they don't really care about social justice. They want money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Roseanne makes a lot of money. So that's why they let her get away with a lot of stuff, is because it's her show. You can't kick Roseanne off the Roseanne show. She really has the industry cornered in that way. But I would say that this is kind of pushing the barrier of what is acceptable and not. So it'll be very interesting to see if they keep the show or not, because it's making a lot of money. It's the biggest show in 5 or 6 years. But now everybody's acting offended, and they're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing forward. But, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do hope that it stays on air, and I hope that people have conversations. And I personally, to be honest, I'll stand up for comedy either way. If it goes against conservatives like Michelle Wolf, I stood up for it then, and I said I thought it was pretty funny, and it wasn't that, I didn't think it was that severe. And this one, I would say, is a little more severe, but I just don't think it's a big deal. Maybe I don't have I'll even be open to it. I don't have the background in the, the experience and what it feels like to be, racially profiled or discriminated in that sense. I know that'll be an example, but just on a scientific level, like I said, just studying the science of like humans and chimps, like I'm a big science guy. 96% of our DNA is ape DNA. So there's really, in my personal perspective, like there's no shame in looking like an ape. Like I've been called an ape multiple times. If you can go look at my old videos, it's the top comment. I used to look like such a monkey, literally, that everyone would nonstop call me that. But it's like we're more similar to apes than we are than mice are to rats by 10 times. It's a huge deal. It's 96% of our genetics. I don't know. And it's like you look at the pictures of what she was talking about, and it really wasn't like wrong. It just was not politically correct. So, overall, I think it was a little over the edge. I wouldn't have personally said it. I think I definitely see why people are upset. be interesting to see what happens. But overall, I do want to say I would love to see all of the people outraged at Roseanne's tweet. You have every right to be outraged. I would love to see you actually stand up for stuff that matters. Over Memorial Day weekend, I think it was like 7 or 8 people were murdered in Chicago. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter doesn't care. All of a sudden, if it's not at the hands of a police officer, then, the life doesn't matter, I guess. And Black Lives Matter certainly never talks about Haiti or Libya. I've never heard them, even mention that. And, Libya, it's a very unfortunate situation. There's a lot of other stuff going on all over the place. I mean, there's injustices and, murders and jail problems. And, I'm not trying to say that you have to talk about everything, but it's like I wish people would focus on the stuff that really mattered, because every day thousands of lives, they're getting destroyed by, rising healthcare and all these bills that people can't pay, and the price of everything's going up, but the price of wages are going down or staying stagnant. And there's other countries where people are literally being persecuted and organ harvested and sold into slavery, and it's like no one really seems to care about that. So I'm just saying, full scope, it's like if you're going to get mad at this, please stop worrying so much about words and worry more about actions, because words are honestly, I think, an American privilege. We have the privilege to be upset by words. There's countries on this earth that you don't even have the privilege to get mad at words like that, because your life is so real and reality set in so hard that you wouldn't even for a second be concerned about a word. You'd be concerned about an action. So those are my thoughts to it. I appreciate it. Someone said, I'm reading the comments, you talk big but you cater to racists. I don't even know what that means. They called in, sorry. I don't cater to anybody. What I just said spoke for itself. I was very clear and concise, and I don't cater to anybody. I've called people out. I say what I feel. You know what I'm saying? I keep it as real as I can, so that's totally false. I don't cater to anybody. I say my perspective, and I'm sorry that me saying, hey, if you're going to get mad at a Twitter joke, then maybe you should get mad at the fact that people are getting enslaved and organ harvested in African countries. If you think that's racist, if you think that's catering to racists, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that me thinking that hundreds of thousands of African lives and, not only in Libya, but also in the United States, I'm sorry that I feel like that matters more than, a tweet. If that makes me racist, then, that's your perspective, but I don't see it. I have love for everybody. I'm just more concerned with people's lives, and I'm more concerned with reality than I am from, that. Someone just said, I'm reading my messages real quick before I leave. Someone said, you lost me as a fan. I don't know what part of what I said really bothered people, but I understand. I knew that this was maybe going to get me in trouble, because I understand when it comes to race and, personal features and stuff, that people get really sensitive. And I understand that. I'm just being as honest as I can. I'm sorry if it bothers you or offends you. There's not an ounce of me that wants to hurt people's feelings. There's not an ounce of me that wants to be disrespectful or, in any way discriminatory. I don't think I've even remotely done that, and I would never want to, because it's not who I am at the core of it. But, if we can't be honest about this now, and this is really the point I'm going to get to. One, me talking about actions over words, that's just a fact. Me talking about our genetics, that's literally a scientific fact. But also, people might get mad at me now, that's fine. But I'm really going against the PC stuff, because it's a very fine line. And I did it with the Michelle Wolf, and I did it with the Michelle Wolf stuff, and conservatives were getting mad at me. And now I guess other people are getting mad at me. Who knows who it is. But, it's political correctness and comedy and tweeting and stuff. It's a very fine line. And we're seeing it in the UK and other places where, it starts with this. It starts with Roseanne. It starts with Trump and Alex Jones. And I don't even care if you agree with them. You don't have to agree with their perspective. But understand it is a very fine line. And if that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong, very shortly, regardless of your race, religion, or ethnicity, or your feelings or your personal preferences and, comedy preferences, you will be next on the chopping block. So I'm a big bastion of free speech and a big bastion of comedy, regardless of who gets upset. And I see not only how it's happening here, I also see that in the UK they're even further, where they're arresting people via Facebook posts. People are getting arrested for live streaming and doing journalism, and they've been trying to do that here all year. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, for just any journalism that strays from the mainstream media. They've used this Russian narrative and this, bot narrative and this all these sort of weird narratives you're this, you're that, you're this if you don't agree with me. They label you, they throw a label on you, and then they try to pretty much silence you, and not in order to make the world less racist, but to make sure that their narrative stays firm and that they have complete information control. So that's really at the core of what I'm saying. I don't even care about race, religion, and gender. I don't like even talking about it. It's just kind of trendy in the news. That's why I'm covering it right now. But overall, that's my overall mission, is to make sure that people's freedom and like journalistic freedom exists, because it's a very fine line. They're cracking down on it on social media, and you might get upset with what I'm saying now, but if we don't kind of hold our ground on an information level and a comedy level, I'm telling you, we're not even going to have the privilege to have these conversations in 5-10 years, and you'll probably be saying, oh, Anomaly, maybe you were right. Maybe my feelings and like my little disagreements with you isn't important. Like I even said, I'm about to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining. I don't care if you disagree with me. Like, you could unfollow or follow or get mad or say something, but don't say that I'm racist, or don't make up a whole grandiose statement because you don't agree with me. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I don't even know. I haven't really read all the comments, but it's like you don't have to. I don't care. I'm not here telling you have to agree with what I just said, or you have to. That has to be your perspective. I'm just calling it like I see it, and I'm open to your perspective, and that's why you're not going to find someone that's more kind and considerate. I'm just saying, those are my thoughts. So let me know yours. No reason to really get upset or start hurling out labels at me. But, you can do as you wish. Like, call me any sort of name if that's how you feel or whatever. It's not a big deal. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you joining. I'm going to post my links below. If you'd like to support, I always have my donor box link in the comment section. And also, I'm going to post my free email list. If you guys are already signed up to my free email list, I sent it out yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. So check your inbox if you haven't seen it already. And thank you guys so much. I appreciate you joining. And let's keep moving forward. I appreciate it.